When you go to NFRA's website, you'll see at the top that it's a very conservative organization. It's very Christian-based. That's what I loved about it. A lot of Christians at the very top, unashamedly Christian. So they came to me and they said, Brian, the president just moved to Destin. He said, we would like for you to come on board and help us to develop Florida. What do you think? And I said, well, give me a couple of weeks. Let me come back to you and let me chew on it. And so I came back and I said, okay, here's my plan. If you agree to my plan or tell me why my plan is bad, and we'll change it up a little bit, I'll agree to it. But if you're telling me that I'm sounding too much like a Tea Partier, well, that's just what I am. And I'm a patriot, and I'm not going to water it down because we might offend someone who's in the Republican Party. And I said, I'm telling you, we want to see action. I don't care about a title, and I definitely don't care about wearing a suit and going to a party just because someone is coming to give a state dinner speech. And so I came back, and my goal was this. Number one, we signed up 50,000 Floridians in the state of Florida as members. 50,000 is $20 at a minimum to be a member. That's $1 million budget. I can't tell you what I can do with $1 million in Tallahassee come this January when they go back in session. Number two, we want to hire a full-time lobbyist. Because when there's an issue, we shouldn't have to all get on a bus, spend our last $300 or $400 to run down there. We should be able to just send someone and say, look, tell them the FRA means business. Number three, I said, I want to go and work with the Tea Party organizations in the state of Florida, provide an umbrella organization above them to allow them to use our 521, our 527 organization, so they can go raise money, they can go and promote candidates at a locally level, and they can go out and help them get elected. And I said, number three, I'm going to do two things that's going to really make the Republican Party mad in the state of Florida. Number one, I want to have a ballot initiative. And it's called the Right to Representation. Now, we had three that initially we wanted to do, but when I realized the cost of making this happen and the work required, we came down to the point where we said, okay, we got to just pick one. And so this is one we picked. The Right to Representation Amendment will strip all state committees power away from them in the future. So the Florida Department of Education could no longer say, hey, we're just going to not teach the Constitution in high school. If this passes, they would have to say, we recommend to Congress to vote on this bill that says we will no longer teach the Constitution in high school. I was infuriated when this came down, which starts this school year already. Not one Republican in the state of Florida, Tea Party or not, try to stop it from occurring. Not one. An article will hit BooGuy.net on Monday morning that will infuriate you if you haven't heard the story yet, and we'll have a follow-up in a week of very detailed information. The Department of Education is currently now rewriting the rules that they just get to be God on, and we're not represented by those we elected to office, that says every school district in the state of Florida will now have to teach social justice.
No.
Now, whose opinion, because social justice is an opinion. It isn't black and white, it isn't fact, but whose opinion gets to be counted in that educational environment? And so the rhinos, and I'm unashamedly, I say that all the time, and I told the NFRA, I said, look, I'm going after the rhino herd. It's just all there is to it. Because that's what we need to change in the state of Florida. And so they said, okay, you can do the ballot initiative. And I said, secondly, I said, we have to go out after the rhino herd hard as we can. And we have to call them out by name. Many of you may be members of the REC and your local county chairman. You have to sign the loyalty oath. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Does anybody not know what I'm talking about? When you join the REC, you have to sign a loyalty oath or a Republican Executive Committee. And I said, we need to change the laws of the Republican Party of Florida that states this. If you are an elected representative in our party, and you go and you start voting for Agenda 21 and Sharia law and abortion and spreading homosexuality, that you have to be loyal to us. And if you're not, we can strip you from being a part of the Republican Party. Why does that mean the only unelected official in the state of Florida has to sign up loyalty to them, but not the people that we elect? We need to have bite in our bark. And so how do we do this? Number one, we sign up membership all across the state of Florida. The reason that I believe the FRA can do this is because we cross party lines. When I say party, I mean organizational lines. 912, Americans for Prosperity, Freedom Works, Tea Party Nation. There's so many of them now, I can't keep up with all of them. We cross all of them. We're saying, listen, we're a group that's already in existence. We already have the organizational umbrella in place. We already have attorneys, constitutional attorneys in the state of Florida that work on our behalf. And we already have the national organization that's going to cover us and help us out. We need to have someone that can come in and say, okay, Tea Party groups, conservative groups, sign your members up. It's $20 a person. It's $30 a family. You just don't get any cheaper than that. My goal is 50,000 members before we reach January 1. It's a very strong goal. I know that. But my real goal is 1,000 members per county. So what do we do once we have this? Well, we're going to do two things. Number one, we want to take over the Republican Party in the state of Florida. How do we do this? This is very easy. There are 67 counties in the state of Florida. All we have to do is take over 34 of those counties in county chairmanships. We then are able to elect the state chairman. Now, we had a really good state chairman who just resigned today or yesterday. Very conservative. And in the county of Okaloosa County, we have a lot of conservatives. But, you know, you get down south, conservatism is just a word they use to get elected. So all we have to do is take over 34 counties. The average votes to elect a county chairman in every county in the state of Florida is 40. 40 people. To go and become an REC member in the Republican Party of each county, show up in January, and vote a conservative guy in the chairmanship. Now, why does that matter? Because if we own the state chairman, we get to do two things. We get to direct the money, how it flows, who's getting elected. Number two, we get to direct issues. We get to say, you know what, we want everybody talking about Agenda 21. Like I say everywhere I go, Agenda 21 should be one of those things we don't even have to talk about. It should be just, hey, Floridians, we got your back, it's not going anywhere. It's that black and white to me. It's so un-American. And so that's our goal, is to press in. So, what do you get when you become a member? Well, you get a pat on the back. I'm just telling you, straight up, you get a pat on the back. Over the next 90 to 120 days as we develop this organization, trying to build up the membership before we go into January, that's all we're doing. The other thing we're doing is we're doing a lot of video education. If you go to florida.republicanassembly.org, you can also go join the Facebook page we just created. We're having about one video teaching session a week right now that's coming online. And it teaches you how to get involved. It teaches you how to participate within the